Jake Morrison stood at the window of the spaceship UES Discovery. He looked out at the alien planet below. The world was beautiful. It had purple seas and golden mountains. Strange cities glowed like jewels across the surface. "Are you ready for this?" asked Dr. Ben Carter. He was Jake's best friend and the ship's doctor. Jake nodded. 3 years of training led to this moment. First contact with an alien race. Captain Helen Burke's voice came over the speakers. "All crew to stations, the Zephyrians are sending a ship to meet us." Jake felt his heart beat faster. He was the ship's expert on alien life and cultures. His job was to learn about these new people and help make peace between humans and aliens. The alien ship was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. It looked like it was made of crystal and light. It moved without making any sound. Beautiful colors flowed across its surface like water. "They're asking permission to come aboard," said Lisa Park from the communications desk. "Granted, Captain," Burke replied. "Jake, you're with me." Jake walked to the docking bay with the captain. His hands were shaking a little. He had studied alien languages and customs for years, but this was real. He was about to meet beings from another world. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. 3 figures stepped inside. Jake's breath caught in his throat. The Zephyrians were tall and graceful. Their skin seemed to glow with a soft inner light. It changed colors slowly, like a sunset. They had long, flowing hair that moved like it was underwater. Small, wing-like parts grew from their shoulders, but these were not for flying. They were beautiful and delicate. The leader stepped forward. He was tall and strong-looking. His skin glowed with gold and red colors. "I am Commander Zethkar of the Zephyrian Empire. We welcome you to our space." Captain Burke stepped forward. "I am Captain Helen Burke of Earth. We come in peace and friendship." Jake watched as the 2 leaders talked, but his eyes kept moving to the 3rd Zephyrian. She was younger than the others. Her skin glowed with soft blue and silver lights. Her hair was long and white like starlight. When she looked at Jake, her eyes were the color of deep space. She was the most beautiful being Jake had ever seen. The formal meeting lasted for hours. Jake learned that the Zephyrians were an old and wise race. They had traveled between stars for thousands of years. They had laws and customs that were very different from humans. Commander Zethkar spoke about trade and peace. Captain Burke listened carefully. Jake took notes and tried to understand their culture, but he kept looking at the young female Zephyrian. During a break in the talk, she walked over to him. "You are the one who studies our ways?" she asked. Her voice was like music. "Yes," Jake said. "I'm Jake Morrison. I study alien cultures and biology." "I am Lyra," she said. The blue lights in her skin grew brighter. "I study other worlds too. Your people interest me greatly." They talked for a few minutes. Lyra asked about Earth and human customs. Jake told her about oceans and forests and cities. Her skin changed to green and gold as she listened. Jake learned that the colors showed her feelings. "Your emotions show in your face," Lyra said. "Ours show in our skin. Perhaps we are not so different." Jake felt his heart skip. There was something special about this alien woman. She was smart and curious. When she smiled, her whole face lit up like a star. The talks continued for 3 days. The human ship stayed near the Zephyrian world. Each day, Jake learned more about their culture. The Zephyrians lived in family groups. They had strict rules about who could marry whom. High-born Zephyrians could only marry other high-born ones. Jake also learned that Lyra was Commander Zethkar's daughter. She was promised in marriage to a Zephyrian noble. It was a political marriage to unite 2 powerful families. This news made Jake feel sad, though he tried to hide it. Each day, Jake and Lyra spent more time together. She showed him Zephyrian art and music. He told her about human books and movies. They walked through the ship's gardens. They talked about their dreams and hopes. Jake found himself falling in love. He had never felt this way before. Lyra was not just beautiful. She was kind and smart and funny. When she laughed, her skin sparkled with tiny lights. But Jake knew it was hopeless. She was alien. She was promised to another. Her father was a powerful military leader who would never accept a human. On the last night before the Zephyrians left, Jake stood alone on the observation deck. The alien world turned slowly below. He thought about Lyra and how she made him feel. He thought about the life he could never have with her. Dr. Ben Carter found him there. "You're thinking about her, aren't you?" Ben said quietly. Jake nodded. He couldn't speak for a moment. Then the words came out like a whisper. "I wish I could marry her." He didn't know that Lyra was nearby. She had been learning to understand English by listening to the ship's computers. She heard everything through the communication system. The next morning, as the Zephyrians prepared to leave, Lyra came to say goodbye to Jake. Her father was talking with Captain Burke nearby. "Thank you for showing me your world," Lyra said softly. "Thank you for showing me yours," Jake replied. His heart was breaking. Lyra looked into his eyes. Her skin glowed with warm, golden light. She smiled, and when she spoke, it was in perfect English. "I heard what you said last night," she whispered, "about wishing you could marry me." Jake's face turned red. "Lyra, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to hear that. I know it's impossible." Her smile grew brighter. The golden light in her skin pulsed like a heartbeat. "Then you shall," she said simply. Jake stared at her in shock. "What do you mean?" "There are old laws," Lyra said. "Ancient ways. If two hearts truly love each other, there is a path. It will not be easy. But if you truly want to marry me, then you shall." Before Jake could ask more questions, Commander Zethkar called for his daughter. She touched Jake's hand gently. Her skin was warm and soft. "Find me again," she said. "If your heart is true, find me again." Then she was gone, walking away with her father and the other Zephyrian. Jake watched their ship disappear into space, but her words stayed with him. Then, "You shall." Hope began to grow in his heart like a small flame. Jake could not stop thinking about Lyra's words. For weeks after the Zephyrians left, he studied everything he could find about their culture and laws. He spent long hours in the ship's library, reading old texts and records. Dr. Ben Carter was worried about his friend. "Jake, you need to eat something," he said, bringing food to the library. "You've been here for 12 hours. "I have to find the answer," Jake said. His eyes were red from reading. "She said there was an ancient way. Old laws that might help us." "Jake," Ben said gently, "maybe it's time to accept that some things can't happen. You're human. She's alien. Her people have rules." But Jake would not give up. He kept searching through the data the Zephyrians had shared. Most of it was about trade and science, but buried deep in the cultural files he found something interesting. There was an old law called the Bond of Souls. It was written in ancient Zephyrian text. Jake used the ship's computers to translate it. What he read made his heart race. The Bond of Souls was an ancient ritual. It allowed two people from different species to marry if they could prove their love was real. But there were 3 tests they had to pass. The tests were very dangerous. Jake ran to find Captain Burke. She was on the bridge, looking at star charts. "Captain, I need to request something," Jake said. Captain Burke looked at him. "Let me guess. This is about the Zephyrian girl." "Her name is Lyra," Jake said. "And yes, it is. I found an old law that might let us marry, but I need to go back to their world." Captain Burke shook her head. "Jake, I can't risk this ship and crew for a personal matter. The diplomatic mission is over." "Please," Jake begged. "Just listen to what I found." Jake explained the Bond of Souls ritual. Captain Burke listened with growing concern. "These tests sound impossible," she said. "And dangerous. You could die." "I have to try," Jake said. "I love her, Captain. And I think she loves me too." Captain Burke was quiet for a long moment. Then she sighed. "I'll contact the Zephyrian government. But Jake, if they say no, that's the end of it." The message took 3 days to reach the Zephyrian homeworld. The answer that came back was surprising. Commander Zethkar agreed to meet them again, but his message was cold and angry. If the human wants to attempt the ancient ritual, he may do so, but he will fail, and then this foolishness will end. The UES Discovery turned around and headed back to Zephyrian space. Jake spent the journey preparing. He studied everything about the 3 tests. He exercised every day to make his body strong. Dr. Ben Carter helped him with medical preparations. The first test is surviving on their moon, Ben said. The air is poison to humans. The gravity will crush you. I'll find a way, Jake said. The second test is making a mental connection with Lyra. Humans aren't telepathic, Jake. We don't have that ability. Then I'll develop it, Jake replied. And the third test is getting approval from their High Council. They already don't want this marriage to happen. I'll prove to them that love is stronger than their rules, Jake said. Lisa Park, the communications officer, was listening to their conversation. Jake, she said quietly, I want to help. How? Jake asked. I've been learning the Zephyrian language, Lisa said. I can help you communicate with Lyra. I can also monitor their government communications. If there's any trouble, I'll know about it. Jake smiled. Thank you, Lisa. I need all the help I can get. When they reached Zephyrian space, things were different from before. The alien ships that met them were military vessels, not diplomatic ones. Commander Zethkar came aboard the Discovery, but he was not friendly. You have returned, he said to Jake. His skin glowed with angry red colors. My daughter told me about this foolish plan. I do not approve. Sir, Jake said respectfully, I love Lyra, and I believe she loves me. The bond of souls is part of your law. I have the right to attempt it. You have the right to die attempting it, Commander Zethkar replied coldly. These tests were made for Zephyrians, not weak humans. Where is Lyra? Jake asked. I want to see her. Commander Zethkar's skin grew darker. She is preparing for her wedding to Lord Vexthar, a proper marriage to one of her own kind. Jake felt like someone had hit him in the stomach. She's getting married to someone else? The engagement was announced after we returned home, Commander Zethkar said. It is a good match. Lord Vexthar is young and strong. He will give her strong children and protect our family's honor. But that night, Lisa Park intercepted a message. It was in secret code, sent from the planet's surface. When she decoded it, she found it was from Lyra. Jake, the message said, my father has locked me in our family home. He says I cannot see you, but I have not agreed to marry Vexithar. My heart belongs to you. If you truly want to attempt the bond of souls, I will find a way to meet you for the ritual. But you must hurry. The wedding is planned for next month. Jake felt hope return to his heart. Lyra still loved him. She was being forced into the other marriage. The next day, Jake formally requested to attempt the Bond of Souls ritual. Commander Zethkar could not refuse under Zephyrian law, but he was very angry. You will fail, he told Jake. And when you do, my daughter will marry Lord Vexthar as planned. And if I succeed, Jake asked. Commander Zethkar's skin turned almost black with rage. You will not succeed, but if by some miracle you do, then you will have earned the right to marry her under our ancient laws. The first test was set for the next day. Jake would be taken to Zephyr's moon and left there for 24 hours. He had to survive without any help from technology. He could only take simple tools and his own knowledge. Dr. Ben Carter gave Jake special medicine to help his body handle the poison air. This will only work for a little while, Ben warned. After that, you're on your own. Lisa Park gave him a small communication device. It's disguised as a rock, she said. If something goes really wrong, use it to call for help. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He thought about Lyra and wondered if he would ever see her again. The tests seemed impossible, but he had to try. Early in the morning, a Zephyrian ship came to take Jake to the moon. As he prepared to leave, Captain Burke pulled him aside. Jake, she said, you don't have to do this. We can leave right now. Find another way. Jake shook his head. There is no other way, Captain. This is my only chance to be with her. Then God help you, Captain Burke said quietly. As Jake walked toward the alien ship, he thought he saw a figure watching from one of the Zephyrian vessels nearby. The figure had long white hair and glowing skin. His heart jumped. Lyra was there, watching him go. Even though he couldn't see her face clearly, he knew she was thinking of him. That gave him strength. The alien moon was a nightmare world. The gravity was so strong that every step was painful. The air burned his lungs even with the medicine Dr. Carter had given him. Strange creatures moved in the shadows between the rocks. But Jake remembered what Lyra had taught him about Zephyrian meditation. He found a cave and sat down to think. He had to survive for 24 hours. He had to be smart, not just strong. As the hours passed, Jake began to understand something important. This test wasn't just about surviving. It was about proving he could adapt to Lyra's world. He had to show that love could help him become more than just human, and somewhere far above, on a Zephyrian ship, Lyra was meditating too. She was trying to send her strength to the human she loved, hoping that somehow their hearts could connect across the empty space between them. The moon was getting darker and colder. Jake had been there for 8 hours. His body hurt from the heavy gravity. The medicine Dr. Carter gave him was wearing off. Soon the poison air would start killing him. Jake sat in the cave and tried to remember everything Lyra had taught him about Zephyrian meditation. She had shown him how to slow his breathing and calm his mind. Maybe this could help his body fight the poison air. He closed his eyes and breathed slowly. In his mind, he could see Lyra's face, her skin glowing with soft blue light, her eyes like deep space. He imagined her voice telling him to be strong. Something strange happened. As Jake meditated, he felt less pain. His breathing became easier. It was like Lyra was there with him, helping him survive. Hours passed. Jake explored the cave and found something amazing. There were paintings on the walls, very old paintings made by ancient Zephyrians. The pictures showed Zephyrians and other creatures living together in peace. Some of the creatures looked almost human. Jake studied the paintings carefully. They told a story. Long ago, the Zephyrians had met other species and learned from them. They had not always been so strict about keeping different races apart. When the 24 hours ended, the Zephyrian ship came back for Jake. Commander Zethkar was surprised to find Jake alive and healthy. "How did you survive?" the commander asked. His skin showed confused purple colors. Jake told him about the meditation and the cave paintings. Commander Zethkar's skin changed to thoughtful gold colors. "Those caves have been lost for hundreds of years," he said quietly. "You found something our own people have forgotten." Back on the Discovery, Dr. Ben Carter checked Jake's health. "This is impossible," Ben said. "Your blood shows you should be dead from the poison, but you're fine. Better than fine, actually. Your body has adapted somehow." Captain Burke was amazed. "Jake, you passed the first test. I can't believe it." But Jake knew the second test would be harder. He had to make a mental connection with Lyra. Humans were not telepathic. They could not read minds or share thoughts like Zephyrians could. Lisa Park had good news. "I intercepted another message from Lyra," she said. "She's being allowed to participate in the second test. Her father can't stop it under the old laws, the say." Next day, Jake was taken to a special room on the main Zephyrian ship. Lyra was there, sitting across from him. She looked beautiful but sad. Her skin was pale with worry. "Jake," she whispered, "I was so afraid you would die on the moon." "I thought of you the whole time," Jake said. "That's what kept me alive." Commander Zethkar and several other Zephyrians watched them. "You have 1 hour to make a mental connection," the commander said. "If you fail, this ends here." Jake and Lyra sat facing each other. She tried to explain how telepathy worked. "You must open your mind," she said. "Stop thinking with words. Feel with your heart instead." Jake tried, but nothing happened. He could not hear her thoughts. He could not feel her mind touching his. Lyra's skin grew dark with sadness. "Try again," she said. "Please, try again." They tried for 30 minutes, but Jake's mind stayed closed. He felt like he was failing her. The watching Zephyrians began to whisper among themselves. Some looked happy that the human was failing. "I'm sorry," Jake said, his voice breaking. "I can't do it. I'm not strong enough." Tears filled Lyra's eyes. In Zephyrians, tears glowed like liquid starlight. "You are strong enough," she said. "You survived the moon. You found the ancient caves. You can do this too." "But how?" Jake asked. "I don't know how to read minds." Lyra reached out and took his hands. Her skin was warm and soft. "Don't try to read my mind," she said. "Just tell me what's in your heart, your deepest feelings. Hold nothing back." Jake looked into her eyes. He thought about all his fears and hopes. Then he began to speak. "I'm afraid I'm not good enough for you," he said. "You're like a star, beautiful and bright. I'm just a human, from a small planet. I'm afraid your people will always see me as less than them. I'm afraid that even if we marry, I'll never really belong in your world." As Jake spoke these words from his heart, something amazing happened. His thoughts began to flow toward Lyra. She gasped as she felt his emotions directly. "I can feel your fear," she whispered. "But I can also feel your love. It's so strong, Jake. Stronger than anything I've ever felt." Now Lyra opened her heart to Jake. Her thoughts and feelings flowed into his mind like warm light. "I'm afraid too," her mental voice said. "I'm afraid my father will never accept you. I'm afraid our children will not belong in either world. But when I'm with you, I feel complete. You make me feel like I can be more than just a Zephyrian princess." Their minds touched and joined. Jake could feel Lyra's love surrounding him like a warm embrace. She could feel his determination and courage. They were connected in a way that went beyond words or touch. The watching Zephyrians stared in amazement. Commander Zethkar's skin turned bright silver with shock. "Impossible," he said. "Humans cannot be telepathic." But Jake and Lyra were proving him wrong. Their connection grew stronger each moment. They shared memories and dreams. Jake saw Lyra's childhood on the beautiful Zephyrian world. Lyra saw Jake's life on Earth, his love for the stars, and his dream of exploring space. The mental connection lasted for 10 wonderful minutes. Then it began to fade. Jake felt Lyra's presence leave his mind like the sun setting. But something had changed in both of them. "The second test is complete," announced the Zephyrian judge who was watching. "The human and the daughter of Zethkar have achieved a true mental bond." Commander Zethkar looked confused and angry. His skin flashed through many colors. "This changes nothing," he said finally. "There is still the third test. The High Council must approve this union. They never will." But as Jake and Lyra looked at each other, they both knew something important. Their love was real. It was strong, enough to break the barriers between their species. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. That night, Lisa Park brought Jake more bad news. "I'm picking up communications about something called Lord Vexthar. He's Lyra's original intended husband. He's not happy about these tests." "What's he planning?" Jake asked. "I'm not sure," Lisa said. "But he has support from some powerful Zephyrians. They think humans are dangerous and shouldn't be allowed to marry into their families." Dr. Ben Carter was also worried. "Jake, I've been studying the data from your tests. Something strange is happening to your body. The telepathic connection changed you somehow. Your brain is showing new activity patterns." "Is that bad?" Jake asked. "I don't know," Ben said honestly. "You're becoming something new. Part human, part something else. I don't know what that means for your future." Jake thought about this news. He was changing, becoming more than human. But he was doing it for love. He was doing it to be with Lyra. The third test would be the hardest of all. He had to convince the High Council that a human could marry a Zephyrian princess. He had to prove that their love would help both species, not hurt them. Looking out at the alien stars, Jake made a promise to himself. He would not give up. He had come too far to fail now. Somewhere on the planet below, Lyra was making the same promise. Together, they would find a way to be together. Their love had already done impossible things. Jake believed it could do one more miracle. But first, they had to survive the politics and prejudice of two very different worlds. The hardest test was yet to come. The High Council meeting was set for 3 days later. Jake spent those days preparing for the most important speech of his life. He had to convince the most powerful Zephyrians that a human could marry into their royal family. Lisa Park brought him troubling news each day. Lord Vexithar is gathering support, she said. He's telling everyone that humans are trying to take over Zephyrian society. He says Jake is just the first step in a human invasion. That's ridiculous, Jake said. All I want is to marry Lyra. I know that, Lisa replied. But fear makes people believe crazy things. Dr. Ben Carter was studying Jake's medical scans. The telepathic connection with Lyra had changed Jake in ways they were still discovering. Your brain is different now, Ben said. You're developing new pathways. I think you might be able to connect telepathically with other Zephyrians, not just Lyra. Is that good or bad? Jake asked. I don't know, Ben said honestly. You're becoming something new. The first human Zephyrian hybrid, in a way, without any genetic changes, just through the power of mental connection. Captain Burke was also worried. Jake, I'm getting messages from Earth. Some people there are upset about this whole situation. They think you're compromising human dignity by changing yourself for an alien. Jake felt pressure from all sides. Humans thought he was betraying his own species. Zephyrians thought he was trying to infiltrate theirs. Only Lyra understood that love was making him into something better than neither. The night before the council meeting, Jake couldn't sleep. He walked to the observation deck and stared out at the Zephyrian homeworld. Somewhere down there, Lyra was probably awake too, thinking about tomorrow. Nervous? A voice asked behind him. Jake turned to see Commander Zethkar. The Zephyrian leader's skin was showing calm blue colors, not the angry reds Jake had seen before. Yes, sir, Jake said honestly. Commander Zethkar stood beside him at the window. I have been thinking about the cave paintings you found, he said. I sent scholars to study them. They confirm what you discovered. Long ago, my people were not so close to other species. What changed? Jake asked. Wars, Commander Zethkar said sadly. We were betrayed by allies. We learned to trust only ourselves. But perhaps we learned the wrong lesson. He looked at Jake carefully. You have changed my daughter. She was always dutiful before. She accepted her arranged marriage without question. Now she fights for what she believes in. You have made her stronger. She's made me stronger too, Jake said. Commander Zethkar nodded slowly. The council meeting tomorrow will be difficult. Lord Vexthar has many supporters. They fear what your marriage might mean. And what do you think it means? Jake asked. Commander Zethkar was quiet for a long moment. I think it means change, he said finally. And change is always frightening, even when it might be good. The next morning, Jake put on his best uniform. Captain Burke, Dr. Carter, and Lisa Park wished him luck. Then he was taken down to the planet's surface for the first time. The Zephyrian capital city was more beautiful than Jake had imagined. The buildings looked like they were made of crystal and light. Gardens floated in the air between towers. The sky was a soft purple color with 3 small moons visible. The High Council chamber was enormous. Hundreds of Zephyrians sat in curved rows, their skin glowing with various colors. At the front sat the oldest and most important council members. Jake walked to the center of the chamber. He felt very small and alone. Then he saw Lyra sitting with her father. Her skin glowed with warm golden light when she saw him. That gave him courage. Lord Vexthar stood up first. He was tall and handsome, with skin that glowed bright silver. His voice was strong and confident. Honorable Council, he said, we face a threat to our way of life. This human seeks to marry into our royal family, but humans are primitive and aggressive. They will contaminate our pure bloodlines. They will weaken our culture. Many council members nodded. Their skin showed agreement colors. Vexthar continued his speech. I have studied human history. They are a violent species. They fight wars over resources and beliefs. They destroy their own planet with pollution. Do we want such creatures joining our families? Jake felt anger rising in his chest, but he forced himself to stay calm. Getting angry would only prove Vexthar's point. Furthermore, Vexthar said, the Princess Lyra is promised to me. Our marriage will unite two great houses and strengthen our empire. This human's selfish desires threaten important political alliances. When Vexthar finished, it was Jake's turn to speak. He walked to the center of the chamber. All eyes were on him. The chamber was completely quiet. Honorable Council, Jake began. I stand before you not as a conqueror or invader, but as someone who has found love across the stars. He told them about meeting Lyra and how she had changed his life. He spoke about passing the first two tests and what they had taught him. Lord Vexthar says humans are violent, Jake said. He's not entirely wrong. We have fought wars and made mistakes, but we have also created art and music and poetry. We explore space not to conquer, but to learn. We came to your world in peace, seeking friendship. Some council members looked interested. Their skin colors shifted to more neutral tones. Jake continued. I found ancient cave paintings that show Zephyrians and other species living in harmony. Your own ancestors were not afraid to learn from others. They were stronger because of it. He pulled out a small device that projected images of the cave paintings. The council members stared in amazement at these forgotten pieces of their history. Love made me strong enough to survive your moon, Jake said. Love helped me develop telepathic abilities no human has ever had before. Love is changing both Lyra and me into something new. Not less than what we were, but more. The chamber buzzed with whispered conversations. Some council members seemed convinced, but others still looked doubtful. Then Lord Vexthar stood up again. Words are easy, he said coldly, but I challenge this human to prove his worth in the traditional way. Let us have a mind battle. Winner takes the princess. Jake's heart sank. A mind battle was telepathic combat. Zephyrians had been doing it for thousands of years. Jake had only discovered his telepathic abilities a few days ago. I accept, Jake said. He had no choice. The council members formed a circle around Jake and Vexthar. Lyra looked terrified. Her skin flashed with worried colors. In a mind battle, the council elder explained, the two fighters enter each other's mental space. They battle with thoughts and willpower. The winner forces the loser to submit mentally. Jake closed his eyes and opened his mind. Immediately he felt Vexthar's presence attacking him. The Zephyrian's thoughts were sharp and cold like ice knives. Vexthar tried to fill Jake's mind with images of failure and weakness. He showed Jake all the ways a human could never fit into Zephyrian society. He projected feelings of worthlessness and inadequacy. For a moment, Jake almost gave up. The mental assault was overwhelming. But then he remembered something important. His strength didn't come from being Zephyrian. It came from being human, and from the love that had changed him. Jake fought back with his own images. He showed Vexthar human courage and determination. He projected the love he felt for Lyra and how it made him stronger. He shared memories of humans overcoming impossible odds through hope and friendship. The battle raged in their minds for several minutes. The watching council members saw both fighters shaking with effort. Then Jake did something unexpected. Instead of trying to defeat Vexthar, he tried to understand him. He looked deeper into the Zephyrian's mind and saw the real truth. Vexthar wasn't just angry about losing Lyra. He was afraid. He was afraid that Zephyrian culture was getting weaker. He was afraid that change would destroy everything he loved about his people. I understand your fear, Jake said, speaking both aloud and telepathically. You're trying to protect your people. That's honorable. But protecting something doesn't mean keeping it from ever changing. It means helping it grow stronger. Vexthar's mental attack stopped. He stared at Jake in surprise. You could have defeated me just now, Vexthar said. I felt your power. Why didn't you? Because defeating you wouldn't prove anything, Jake said. We don't have to be enemies. We both want what's best for Lyra and for both our peoples. The chamber was completely silent. Even the council elders looked amazed. Slowly, Vexithar's skin changed from angry red to thoughtful purple. "You fight unlike any Zephyrian," he said. "You seek understanding, not domination." He turned to address the council. "I withdraw my challenge to this marriage," he said formally. "The human has proven he is worthy." A cheer went up from some council members. Others still looked uncertain. But Commander Zethkar stood up and spoke. "My daughter has chosen well," he said, his skin glowing with proud golden colors. "This human brings new strength to our family and our people." The final vote was close, but Jake and Lyra won. The High Council approved their marriage under the ancient Bond of Souls law. The council members filed out. Lyra ran to Jake and threw her arms around him. Her skin blazed with happiness. "You did it," she whispered. "We did it." But Jake knew this was only the beginning. Now they had to build a life together, bridging two very different worlds. It would not be easy, but love had already helped them do impossible things. Together, they could do anything. 3 months later, the wedding day arrived. Jake had never imagined he would be getting married on an alien planet, but here he was, preparing for the most important day of his life. Dr. Ben Carter helped Jake get ready in a special chamber on the Zephyrian homeworld. Jake wore a modified human wedding suit, but it was decorated with small Zephyrian light crystals that glowed softly in the dim room. "How do I look?" Jake asked nervously. "Like a man about to marry the love of his life," Ben said with a smile. "Are you ready for this?" Jake nodded. "I've never been more ready for anything." Captain Burke entered the room. She had agreed to perform the human part of the ceremony. "The guests are gathering," she said. "Humans and Zephyrians together. I never thought I'd see anything like it." Through the window, Jake could see the wedding site. It was a beautiful garden floating high above the city. Flowers from both Earth and Zephyr decorated the area. Human and Zephyrian guests sat together, their different appearances making a colorful crowd. Lisa Park came in carrying a small communication device. "Jake, I have a surprise for you," she said. "I've set up a link to Earth. Your parents and friends can watch the ceremony." Jake felt his eyes fill with tears. He had thought his family would miss the most important day of his life. "Thank you, Lisa. That means everything to me." In another part of the building, Lyra was getting ready with help from both human and Zephyrian friends. Her wedding dress was unlike anything ever seen before. It was made from a special fabric that changed colors like her skin. As her emotions shifted, the dress glowed with silver and gold and soft blue lights. Commander Zethkar came to see his daughter before the ceremony. His skin showed mixed emotions. Pride, sadness, and happiness all swirled together. "You look beautiful," he told Lyra. "Your mother would have been so proud." "I wish she could be here," Lyra said softly. "She is here," Commander Zethkar said, touching his chest. "In our hearts and memories." He paused and looked at his daughter seriously. "Are you certain this is what you want? Once you marry Jake, your life will never be simple. Some Zephyrians will always see you as different. Some humans will never fully accept you either." Lyra's skin glowed with confident golden light. "Father, love is never simple, but Jake and I will face whatever comes together. We'll build bridges between our peoples." Commander Zethkar smiled. "Then you have my blessing, my daughter." The ceremony began at sunset when both Earth's sun and Zephyr's 3 moons were visible in the sky. Jake walked down the aisle first, accompanied by Dr. Ben Carter and Captain Burke. The mixed crowd of guests watched as the human who had changed everything took his place at the altar. Then Lyra appeared, and the entire gathering fell silent. She was breathtaking. Her dress flowed around her like liquid starlight. Her skin glowed with pure happiness. She walked down the aisle with her father, and when Jake saw her, he felt his heart skip a beat. The ceremony combined traditions from both worlds. Captain Burke spoke first, reading human vows about love and commitment. Then the senior Zephyrian priest performed the ancient bonding ritual. Do you, Jake Morrison of Earth, promise to love and protect Lyra, to share your thoughts and dreams with her, to walk beside her through all the challenges of two worlds? Captain Burke asked. I do, Jake said, his voice strong and clear. Do you, Lyra, daughter of Zethkar, promise to love and protect Jake, to share your light with him, to guide him in the ways of our people while learning from his? The Zephyrian priest asked. I do, Lyra replied, her voice like music. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Jake and Lyra joined hands and opened their minds to each other. The telepathic bond they had discovered during the trials blazed to life, stronger than ever before. But something amazing happened. As their minds connected, other people in the crowd began to feel it too. Some of the human guests gasped as they experienced brief flashes of telepathic contact. Several Zephyrians found their mental abilities enhanced by proximity to the bonded pair. Incredible, Dr. Carter whispered to Captain Burke. They're creating some kind of psychic field. It's affecting everyone nearby. The bond between Jake and Lyra grew stronger and brighter. Through their connection, they shared their deepest feelings with each other and, briefly, with everyone present. The crowd felt their pure love and joy. Humans and Zephyrians alike were moved to tears by the intensity of the emotion. By the power vested in me by Earth's United Space Command, Captain Burke said, and by the ancient laws of the Zephyrian Empire, I pronounce you husband and wife. Jake and Lyra kissed as the crowd cheered. Fireworks exploded in the sky above them, both human pyrotechnics and Zephyrian light displays that painted the sunset with brilliant colors. At the reception, something wonderful happened. The telepathic field that Jake and Lyra had created during the ceremony continued to affect the guests. Humans and Zephyrians who had been strangers began to understand each other in new ways. Language barriers seemed less important when people could sense each other's emotions directly. Dr. Carter approached Jake during the celebration. Jake, do you realize what you've done? This telepathic field you and Lyra created? It's breaking down the barriers between our species. People are actually communicating mind to mind. Jake looked around the reception and saw humans and Zephyrians talking and laughing together, as if they'd known each other for years. Is it permanent? He asked. I don't know, Ben said. But even if it fades, people will remember what it felt like to truly understand someone completely different from themselves. Commander Zethkar came over to congratulate Jake. The older Zephyrian's skin was glowing with warm, happy colors. Welcome to the family, son, he said, using the English word son for the first time. Thank you, sir, Jake said. I promise I'll take good care of Lyra. I know you will, Commander Zethkar replied. But more than that, I believe you and my daughter will take care of both our peoples. You've already started something important here tonight. As the evening went on, Jake and Lyra announced their plans for the future. They would split their time between Earth and Zephyr, serving as ambassadors and cultural bridges. They were establishing the first joint human Zephyrian research station, where scientists from both species could work together. We want to create a place where our children can grow up understanding both worlds, Lyra said, her skin glowing with excitement about the future. Lisa Park raised her glass for a toast. To Jake and Lyra, she said, who proved that love really can conquer anything, even the space between stars. Later that night, Jake and Lyra stood alone on a balcony overlooking the glittering city. They held hands and looked up at the stars, together. Through their mental bond, they shared their thoughts and dreams for the future. Do you think it will always be like this? Jake asked. This perfect understanding between us. Nothing stays exactly the same forever, Lyra said wisely. We'll have problems and disagreements like any married couple, but we'll face them together, and our bond will make us stronger. Jake squeezed her hand gently. I love you, Mrs. Morrison. Lyra's skin sparkled with joy. I love you too, Mr. Morrison. They looked out at the stars and thought about all the adventures waiting for them. They would explore the galaxy together, representing both their species. Their children would be something new, part human, part Zephyrian, but completely themselves. Other couples like them were already forming. The telepathic field Jake and Lyra had created was inspiring other humans and Zephyrians to reach across the species barrier. Love was creating possibilities no one had imagined before. 6 months after the wedding, Jake and Lyra opened their research station. It orbited halfway between Earth and Zephyr, a symbol of cooperation and shared dreams. Scientists from both worlds worked together to unlock the mysteries of telepathic bonding and interspecies relationships. Dr. Carter led the medical research team. "We're discovering incredible things," he reported to Jake and Lyra. "The telepathic bonds don't just allow mental communication. They're actually enhancing both species. Humans are developing new mental abilities, and Zephyrians are gaining human emotional resilience." Captain Burke, now promoted to admiral, oversaw the diplomatic aspects of the project. "More interspecies couples are requesting to attempt the Bond of Souls ritual," she said. "But thanks to your research, we're making it safer and more accessible." Jake and Lyra's first child was born a year later. Little Emma Morrison was beautiful, with her father's human features but skin that could glow softly like her mother's. She was the first of a new generation that would grow up belonging to both worlds. As Jake held his daughter for the first time, he remembered that night long ago when he had whispered, "I wish I could marry her," while looking out at the stars. Lyra had heard him and said, "Then you shall." She had been right. Love had made the impossible possible. And now, they were creating a future where other impossible dreams might come true, too. Looking down at baby Emma, Jake made a promise. "You'll grow up in a universe where love matters more than differences," he whispered to his daughter. "Your mother and I will make sure of that." Through their mental bond, Lyra shared his feelings of hope and determination. Together, they would continue building bridges between worlds, one loving relationship at a time. The stars had never looked brighter or more welcoming than they did that night, shining